But Johnny, let's move on into our next segment. And before we do, I'm going to go ahead and pitch our iTunes and Apple Podcasts. Make sure to, if you have iTunes and Apple Podcasts, to rate and review the Rick and Johnny podcast, because Johnny, we have a new review that I did not see last week because it came about a month ago.
Oh, nice.
So I have not checked for us because we haven't gotten many new ones recently, but we did get a new one from Nick Peaks, and he gave us a 5-star rating titled Awesome, and he said, found you guys on YouTube and just can't get enough. Love the MVP. Thanks for doing what you do. Smiley face. Thank you, Nick, for the 5-star review.
Yes,
if you want to be like Nick, make sure to go to iTunes and Apple Podcast and rate and review the Rick and Johnny podcast. But what we are talking about in this second segment, Johnny, is a little bit of DC news, or a little DC topic.
News.
Because I'm kind of worried. When has that phrase never come out of Ricky's mouth? When
DC and worried in the same sentence with Ricky?
It comes out of Ricky's mouth. So the question that we're asking is, should DC focus on other heroes besides Batman and Superman? And the reason why we're doing this is there was an article that I saw on Screen Rant where they said why Aquaman and Wonder Woman get good reviews, but why Batman and Superman don't. And their bullet points were this. Number one, Batman and Superman have had well-received movies in the past. So basically, you got to live up to the past. Wonder Woman and Aquaman. How many Wonder Woman and Aquaman movies do you know of?
Aquaman 0.
Yeah, not many.
Wonder Woman, I don't know if it was a movie, but it was a TV show in the 80s, 70s.
Not many to go off
Exactly.
of.
Nothing really to go off
as recent in our heads. And in our lifetime, 0 for both of them. Then you've got people can't let go of previous interpretations where, like, for Batman, an example, when you make a Batman movie, everyone is going to compare it to Christopher Nolan's Batman, to The Dark Knight, to Christian Bale, because that was the last one that we seen. They also said Marvel didn't have this problem starting their universe. Yeah, because Marvel didn't really do good movies before the MCU. Let's just
Marvel did movies before.
Let's just call a spade, where it's like, you know what? Marvel and their movies were not good before the MCU. Ang Lee Hulk, anybody? Like,
what? That never happened. There's no Hulk. There's no Hulk movie before the MCU.
Like, the MCU kind of started that all, and we kind of forget all the other Marvel movies. Like, I know the X-Men are different because that was Fox.
Fox, yeah.
And the last thing that they put, I think it's the last thing, Aquaman and Wonder Woman are unique, and that is DC's future. And for me, I kind of agree with that last point. 110%.
Yeah.
They're unique. We haven't seen it because I don't have a ton of different other things to base it off of. I'm going to go in like an Aquaman movie. They made it fun. Aquaman's usually a joke in himself. Like, let's be honest, he's the DC hero that everyone makes fun of.
The only time it was cool was in, what was it called? Well, there's 2 times that I can say he was cool now, actually. Well, 3 now.
Aquaman, the movie.
The movie, but aside from that, from Flashpoint, he was fucking awesome.
Yes,
he looked like a nerd, but
well, I'm talking about
that being
you're talking about the movie Flashpoint, the animated movie, where that was unique too. Because that was when you got Wonder Woman and Aquaman,
which I really hope they go with that point. Flashpoint.
I hope so too.
To derail this conversation for a second.
I hope for it so much.
I really want at least the 2 of them to fight, if nothing else. But aside from that one and from Justice League, the cartoon we used to watch, he was a badass there.
Yes.
But everything else, he's a joke. Let's be honest,
where he was a dork was like the Super Friends, where he's like, But let's be honest, that was the time, though. That was,
it was
the time.
But actually, riding the giant seahorse as opposed to these awesome technically, I think they based it off of, instead of the seahorse, there's something called a sea dragon, and that's what they based it off of. Yeah, which was cool. I like that they developed it that way.
Now, here's the thing I'm going to throw out. Yes, and this is rumored news from like about a couple days ago. So apparently, the headline reads, Matt Reeves knew the Batman draft added more spectacle. And what is being reported is that, from the sound of it, Reeves has amped up the spectacle a bit. I don't know what motivated him to bring a little more explosiveness to the proceedings. Maybe the studio has loosened the reins on his budget a bit thanks to Aquaman, but I hear the action quota for this film is somewhere between 7 and The Dark Knight. So, like, that's what, like, I look at it this way. If it's going to be just under The Dark Knight, The Dark Knight had some pretty big action scenes in it, especially, like, the ending one where it was, hey, Batman is basically chasing the Joker when it's like they're transporting Harvey Dent and the Joker pulls out the bazooka and that whole scene of just explosions. You have the kids going like, and then boom, 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 and they're like shocked as Batman rides by on the bat cycle.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts with this The Batman? Because we've talked about it numerous times. Oh, the script's supposed to be done here before the end of the year. Oh, it's supposed to be done by the end of the year. Now we're seeing another draft. This movie is supposed to begin production in November of this year. What are your thoughts on it? And at this point, are you kind of like, you know what? I'm not going to be upset if we don't get it because of what we're getting from DC so far.
Well, there's a few things I want to say about that. For one, I think it's weird you're struggling so much on a Batman story because you have so much to work with, and you don't really have to introduce. You don't have to introduce anything. You don't have to
do an origin. We know the origin.
We don't need to introduce anything. It's like Spider-Man. You don't need to give us Uncle Ben's death.
They didn't, and it was great.
And they did. And that's what I'm saying. We don't need to. There's so many things we don't need to do with it. There's that. I don't know why you're struggling so hard. You have so many comics to go off of. You more so they can name them more so.
Yep.
You can name them more so than I can. There we go.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you can tell me that there's a shit ton of stories to go off of. And I know there's another podcast that we actually talked about this.
There's an entire gallery
of rogues to fight.
Villains that he could fight. Like, and that's the thing that I liked about Christopher Nolan's kind of series. And I know this is the problem that article just talked about, is the thing with Batman and the thing with Superman is there's a recency bias. I'm going to call it a recency bias, even if it's not that.
Yeah.
But I think it kind of is, where it's like, for me, when Batman, the Justice League Batman, the BVS Superman, you compare it to Christian Bale. Like, immediately when there's a new Batman, all right, how does he match up with Christian Bale, with George Clooney, with Val Kilmer, with I think I'm forgetting one. Am I forgetting one? Clooney, Kilmer. I think there was one in between Clooney and Kilmer.
I think they had a different Batman in each one of those movies, didn't they?
Then you've got Christian Bale, like I've already mentioned. I'll look it up while you're talking. But the thing that I think of is, because of that recency bias, and I'm at fault of it too, the thing I liked with the Christopher Nolan Batman is, yes, with Batman Begins, did we get his parents dying? Yes, but it didn't seem like it was... Like, the thing I liked with it, they gave us Thomas Wayne. Yeah. They gave us him talking to Bruce on the train, so that it was like... Or they came when Bruce fell through the well. We got to know a little bit of Thomas Wayne before he died. And kind of what does that mean to Bruce? Then, with that whole villain, Ra's al Ghul. We're in a live-action Batman... have never seen Ra's al Ghul before, and it was very nice because you tied in the whole League of Assassins thing. You could then tie in his daughter for the third one. In the second one, it was beautiful. We got the Joker. We've got, for me, I'm going to say my best live-action version of the Joker. And I know I wasn't alive when the Romero Joker was out for the Adam West series and movie, but that was more of a jokey, haha Joker. This was like the psychopath, serial killer, like, I'm insane Joker that we saw. We also saw a little bit of Two-Face, but it didn't take anything away.
Exactly.
Like, it didn't take anything away from that. The only thing I didn't like about The Dark Knight is that they killed off Harvey Dent because we then couldn't see that. The third one was the one that I liked the least out of that trilogy because just I didn't like the story of where they went with it. But like, even look at those villains. You had Talia coming back for her father. You had Bane in that one as the main villain in there. You had the Scarecrow that was back. Oh, the Scarecrow
was back.
Was also
he was in the first
Batman
one.
Begins. I forgot about him completely as well. And there are so many villains that I didn't like. The Penguin. I know he was in a way back. Like, you have him, you have Catwoman, you have Poison Ivy. Like, you have all these different villains that you can use. And, like, look at Spider-Man Far From Home. They used the Vulture. If many people...
You mean Homecoming.
Homecoming, that's what I mean.
They used the Vulture.
Far From Home is going to use Mysterio. But even look at that.
Hydro Man.
And Hydro Man. And there's going to be Sinister Six kind of inklings in there.
Yeah.
But if you were to me to say, all right, you're going to do 2 Spider-Man movies, who are the villains you're going to use? Green Goblin would be at the top of that list. Kraven would be at the top of that list. Doc Ock. And what did Marvel do? Hey, we've already seen the Green Goblin. We've already seen Doc Ock. Let's do someone that we haven't seen before.
Yeah.
And that's what I think Batman needs to do.
Solomon Grundy.
What haven't we seen? Solomon Grundy. I'm going to say this. Give me a Man-Bat. Give me a Man-Bat Batman, because
that'd be cool.
The only time I've seen Man-Bat is the animated series.
Yeah.
Have not seen him in a live action. Yes, I know we technically saw the Riddler with the Jim Carrey Riddler.
Yeah, give us the Riddler.
I know we've seen not Sub-Zero, Mr. Freeze, but I would love a better Mr. Freeze impersonation than
you don't like all the ice puns?
No, the ice puns. No, I did not. But I mean,
hey Ricky, what killed the dinosaurs?
The Ice Age, and he blows right through it. And that's also a problem with Batman too, is because there have been so many Batman movies. Think about it: Tommy Lee Jones Two-Face, and then the Harvey Dent that we just saw. We've already seen Mr. Freeze. We've already seen Riddler. We've already seen 2 versions of Catwoman. I forgot that she was in the Christopher Nolan third film, but we also had Catwoman in, I believe it was the Val Kilmer film. Like, that's the thing of, like, go into some of these villains that we have not seen from Batman, because there are more out there than just the main ones.
Let's also be fair with this. Hey, we got bad reviews on Batman movies. We got bad reviews on Superman movies. We necessarily didn't get a Batman movie. We got a Batman vs Superman movie.
Oh, you're talking about Batfleck movie. We never got a sole Batfleck movie.
Exactly. To be fair, we never got a Batman movie. We got a Batman vs Superman movie. Whereas, we did get the Man of Steel movie, and it was okay. To be fair, in my opinion, it was okay. It didn't have the tone that I was going and expecting a Superman to be. That's why. And yeah, it made him a little more human to some degree, but also made him like, this is very Batman-ish. So it's you also have to think about that side of it. We didn't have an actual Batman or Batfleck movie to make it a little bit more prominent of which Batman we're talking about.
So okay, I'm gonna throw out some.
Yeah.
These are classic Rogue Gallery Batman villains that we have not seen in Batman movies of yet. And here's what I want you to do, Johnny. Pull up on your computer a Word document.
Oh, Word document.
I am going to basically put your thought process to the test with this one, because also I have to look up for one of these. I know we talked about this villain is coming to the MCU, but I can't remember. Okay, that's what movie he was going to be in again. Okay, so as I list them off to you, I want you to come up with your definitive list of number 1 is, yes, that's the first one I want to see. The last one will obviously be like, yeah, that's not the one I'm hyped up about.
Okay.
And you can order them as I list them off. The first one that we have not seen in a Batman movie, I'm putting an asterisk, though, because we're going to see him in Birds of Prey, Black Mask. We have not seen Black Mask in a movie, live action for Batman, but Ewan McGregor is going to play him in Birds of Prey. Another one, Clayface. Clayface is also another one that we have not seen in a Batman movie. Number 3, and let me know if I'm going too fast for you.
You are, because my my Microsoft isn't working.
Okay, so then what we're going to do...
Hold on.
Did you get it to work?
Nope, I just opened Google Drive.
Okay, here's what I'm going to do. We're going to do this live on the podcast.
So we have
Black Mask. We have Clayface. That is what I've listed off for you. Let me know when you're ready for the third one.
Okay.
This is another one that has been in a DCEU film, has not been in a Batman film. Deadshot. We've gotten Will Smith Deadshot. We could easily put Will Smith Deadshot against Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Firefly, who is another one.
Yep.
Firefly is one of those that is Garfield. The one that I know is Garfield Lynch, who's like an orphan who became a pyromaniac.
Yeah.
And then that's his kind of shtick. Here's an interesting one. Hugo Strange. And this could be one where, what was Hugo Strange's biggest thing? He wanted to learn the identity, and eventually does learn the identity of Batman being Bruce Wayne. This one I'm putting an asterisk next to too, because they're going to give us an animated movie of this, so they won't do them live action. Hush. Dr. Thomas Elliot, the brilliant surgeon who grew up being Bruce Wayne's friend, and then targets Bruce Wayne
in
wanting
his
to look exactly like him. Killer Croc. We got him in Suicide Squad, but we haven't seen him in a
I'm putting an asterisk by
Batman
him too,
movie.
Then.
Killer Moth is another one, although for Killer Moth, I'm going to put him down at the bottom.
Yeah.
Mad Hatter.
Yeah, that's who I was trying to think of.
We have not seen Mad Hatter. We have also not seen Man-Bat, who I have previously mentioned. Mr. Freeze we've seen, Penguin, Poison Ivy. The last one that I would say, the last two, this one is kind of a lower one. I don't know if we'll ever see him, the Ventriloquist. Basically, that's one with he's got the little, in the animated series, a little like gangster puppet that has a mind of its own. And then the last one I think we've seen, I think he was in Suicide Squad. I can't remember, but I know he was in the Batman games. But Victor Zsasz, the serial killer who like marks his kills on his body, like those are all the main villains that we have not seen in a solo Batman film. You're telling me, before I even get to your list, which I want to start bottom to top, and I'm going to talk a little bit so you can come up with it, you're telling me we can't get one of these villains to be in a Batman film. We can't get one of them to be a Batman villain, kind of like how Spider-Man Homecoming used the Vulture, who we have not seen in a Spider-Man film. And I get that there's a little bit of a discrepancy because the only Spider-Man movies that we have known were the Sam Raimi ones coming in. Are you done with your list, or are you still fiddling with it?
Still fiddling.
Johnny's like, I'm going to overthink this as much as I can.
No, I'm just putting them in the orders I want them.
How many did we have total?
Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
So 12 of them that we have not seen. There are some, like the ones with the asterisks, like Hush, you can take off because I don't know if they do that with him being in an animated movie. I'm
gonna leave him in. I'm gonna leave all the asterisk ones in because I'm like halfway done.
Him and Black Mask are the two where it's like Black Mask is interesting though, because just because he's in Birds of Prey doesn't mean we can't see him. Like, if Ewan McGregor's character does well enough in that Birds of Prey movie, there's no reason then why we can't see him in a solo Batman film. Now, for Superman, you could do almost the same thing, too, is how many Superman villains have we seen where it was basically General Zod, they did a really bad version of Lex Luthor. I didn't like the Lex Luthor that we saw.
I hear that a lot.
Another one that you could throw in there if you wanted to is Deathstroke. We haven't seen him in a Batman film. He was originally supposed to be in the Batman movie before Matt Reeves took over, but we have Janello's, or Men
He
Janello's.
was sort of in there for...
He was in Justice League.
Yeah.
He was supposed to be more in Justice League.
But he wasn't.
But he was just the post-credit scene. But we haven't seen... But see, Deathstroke is one I would save for if you're going to do a Teen Titans live action. I know that's kind of tricky because you got the TV series, so I don't think we'd get a Teen Titans live action. Plus, they want to do a Nightwing. They want to do Nightwing and Batgirl as well, which would be interesting for Teen Titans because, like, Nightwing, I know there's other reincarnations of or other versions of Robin, but, like, Dick Grayson would not be the one that would be the Robin leading the Titans. Almost done with the list.
Yeah, I'm just moving things around now almost.
Okay. Johnny's like, I'm really thinking about this one. This is also one where I got to be honest. I put you on the spot with this. But let's be honest. I usually do that. I usually go ahead and just put you
I mean, we probably would have been
spot.
done sooner if my computer were cooperating earlier. Oh, man. Okay.
This technology, like, what are you going to do with it?
Yeah.
You tell me. I want to start from the bottom.
The lowest, the one you want to see least.
Start from the lowest. So start from 12. Go to number 1 and give us your kind of, if you want to, for some of them, give us a little reasoning. Let us know.
Killer Moth has always been an villain.
You're just like, throw him to the side.
Yeah. Followed that by Killer Croc. We've seen him in a movie. I don't necessarily want to see him again.
We've seen him, and he probably wasn't even that great in Suicide Squad.
No, not really. It was okay, I guess. Firefly, again, it's sort of along the Killer Moth thing of like he's just you can throw him in there sort of like they did with Scarecrow in the trilogy,
or like a Harvey Dent. I'm not gonna say Harvey Dent because Harvey Dent had a huge role in the Dark Knight.
But I mean, as Two-Face, he didn't have a huge role, so you can throw him in there like that. I would say if you're gonna use Firefly, doing like Black Mask might be part of another movie. So again, save it and keep it for that. Deadshot, same thing. Again, another part of the movie, so I don't necessarily want to see that. Now getting in the ones that reason why I narrowed all those down so quickly was because of a lot of them were asterisks, and so Firefly and Killer Moth were.
So that was Killer Moth, Killer Croc, Black Mask,
Firefly,
Deadshot.
Black Mask, Deadshot.
So 5.
Yeah, that's 5.
So now we have
narrowed out either because, again, they're like of a villain, or
so this is like the top 7, the definitive. This is where the real list.
This is where the real list kind of starts. Victor Zsasz. It would be cool, but again, it'd just be a detective-ish movie, or like it'd be like watching CSI.
He would be a side villain. He's not your A. Yeah. He's your B, your little B, or he's your B or like your A prime, or the smaller villain, not the main focal.
These next two could be swapped out either way because I found in the cartoons him to be the one that's above. I'll just say Hush and Ventriloquist. To me, can be swapped out because it'd be kind of cool. It'd be kind of weird too to have Bruce Wayne playing dual, or Ben Affleck. Let's say that's the one we're doing it off of, playing dual parts.
Parent trapping it
in a sense. Yeah. Ventriloquist had a really weird dynamic and cool dynamic to him. Because there were a few episodes with him, wasn't it?
Yes. Well, it was the thing I always liked about it was the dummy had a mind of its own.
Yeah.
Where it was basically. The ventriloquist it was never clear to me as a kid, did the puppet have magical powers like a mind of its own, or was the ventriloquist kind of schizophrenic?
See, that's
to
the
where
thing.
He had a dual personality that has separated itself so much to where they can live on their own.
And that's part of what goes into this whole list of like, how can it play in a movie? And that would be like when he has the puppet on his hand. Has a mind of its own,
but he's still able to act as him.
Yeah, he can act as him, but then like he does the whole puppet thing, and that's where the schizo takes over type thing, and that'd be a cool dynamic to a movie per se because the schizophrenia takes over because that's how for him it establishes itself.
Exactly.
And then whatever ensues with that. Hush is just, we've talked about it in other podcasts, actually, and it would just be along the Hush story. But kind of the young friend of Bruce Wayne's when they were kids, taking an overbearing stalkerish style thing to it. And then that would be the whole Bruce Wayne side of it more so than the Batman side of it.
Well, with his, it wouldn't be, it's not necessarily a stalker. It's more of
it comes down a stalkerish type
kind of
thing.
The whole thing that I liked with that whole story is I always felt like Thomas Elliot was always the jealous of Bruce. Like, yes, they both came from wealthy families, but I always felt like Bruce and his family were just above the Elliots to where Thomas Elliot was jealous of Bruce. And that's what fueled this whole obsession.
But it comes with an obsession, and it comes almost like a stalkerish thing, which you can play into that. These other two can also be almost, they were close, but I think one over the other, actually. No, I'm saying it. Hugo Strange is next up on that list, because that'd be cool to have sort of an Arkham Asylum movie where it's trying to figure out where the hell he is, and Hugo Strange just putting him through the loops until the end of the movie.
Also, I wanted to throw this out. Matching Hugo with Hush would be interesting.
That would be.
Because Hugo could then learn Batman's identity, accidentally kill the wrong Bruce.
That's true. That would be a cool one.
By the end of the movie, Hush could look like Bruce, and Hugo kills Hush, and then Batman takes down Hugo.
Yeah. Clayface would be next, because that'd be a cool detective movie. It would be a very detective side of it until the end.
Yeah.
Because Batman has to find someone he can't pinpoint a face on.
Would Clayface, and I want to throw this out, would Clayface basically fall into the same category, though, as Sandman and Sam Raimi? Or could you do Clayface as the main villain of a Batman movie?
I think you could if you really wanted to. Because like I said, it's a 50-50 shot on that. Because what you'll have to do is kind of have him have his own scheme or whatever. Because I forgot, what was his motivation in the cartoon series?
Clayface was the actor.
Yeah, the actor, but what did he want?
The actor with the face cream.
Yeah, but what did he want? I forgot what it was that he overall wanted.
Here, let me see.
Aside from looking young and getting more movies.
With his, it was always, I want to say it was revenge that was his whole thing.
When his face started deteriorating?
Yeah, so he was a B-list actor who was driven insane when he hears that a remake of the classic horror film he starred in would be shot without him acting in the film, even though he is to be one of the advertising staff. Donning the costume of Clayface, a villain he once played in a different movie, he begins killing actors playing characters he killed in the order and the way they die in the film, along with somebody who is his identity. Last, he plans to murder the actor playing the Clayface killer. He is foiled by Batman and Robin. So basically, you could do almost that same storyline of, it would be a little bit more detective-wise.
Yeah.
But you could have your action set piece of the end of just the actor who kind of tie in both. He gets replaced because maybe he's older and they want to go younger.
Yeah.
He uses the cream to try to get younger like he did in the animated series, becomes Clayface like he did in the animated series, and then his MO is to basically, you did this to me, so I'm going to kill all your actors.
Yeah, exactly.
And starts killing them in a certain order, and it's Batman. Little detective-y, but yet again, that's not bad for a Batman movie.
Which it should be. Next one would be Mad Hatter. Again, very detective-y.
What number is Mad Hatter on your list? 2. Okay, so there is one more. So Mad Hatter's an interesting one.
He is.
I think you can do a good Mad Hatter.
Because and I know you don't really like it, Gotham, the TV series, I like the Mad Hatter in that too.
It's not that I don't like it. It's that I got disinterested it was a very novel idea of at first it was like, oh, this is cool. The focus isn't on Batman. And then after 1 or 2 series, you're like, yeah, you know what this show needs? Fucking Batman. Like after 1 or 2 series, you're just like, yeah, I just want to see Batman.
It's more of a like, what it comes down to for what I saw up to. I think it was season 3 or 4 I saw up to was it's like basically all the introductions to his gallery.
Yeah. And like,
so that's why
I get it's supposed to follow like Commissioner or James Gordon.
All the basically, like I said, the gallery starting up, each part of the gallery starting up, each main villain of the gallery, and then.
But it's like I just look at it and go, all right, this kid's been how old through this entire series?
He's slowly getting older, like a normal kid should.
Slowly, but I mean, like. After a while, I'm just like, man, I just really want to see Batman right now. It's like the Smallville thing of like, after a while. I never watched
it, actually.
After a while in Smallville, I didn't either, but I hear this from Dave, from my friend Pete, who is a huge Superman guy.
Yeah.
After a while, you're just like, I just want to see him be Superman. That's all I want. And that's the big thing of why they hated the ending.
Getting impatient.
Because all they got at the ending was like him doing this, and then that's it. You didn't even get to see him in the suit after how many years?
That is disappointing.
So I mean, that's the thing.
That would be a disappointing ending.
The biggest cock tease of a series that you can know. But yeah, the Mad Hatter to me has always been interesting because
mind games.
Yes, and mind control.
That too. Yeah,
that's the big thing of like mind control is a big caveat that you can use in a movie to help drive something and be a kind of thing that Batman needs to get over. I should know this. Who's number 1 then?
Man-Bat.
Okay, I should have realized that would be my number 1.
Yeah,
because
part of it is I just really want to see Man-Bat. But there's so many cool things about it. Like you'll have a lot more action in it because he's got to take down a Man-Bat, trying to figure out what the hell is going on in the first place. Because people are being sucked dry of their blood.
Yeah,
the fuck. And then you got Bat's DNA that he's got to deal with, blah, 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 blah.
No, I mean...
It's like 50% action, 50%...
If you've listened to this podcast, I feel like almost every other Batman segment we talk about, I mention a Man-Bat.
Man-Bat comes up, yeah.
Here's one that I want to throw out here right at the end.
Yeah.
Do you think it's time for a Batman Beyond movie? Because there's part of me that's like, hey, you know what? How do you spice things up?
I'm waiting till
you give us Terry McGinnis instead of Bruce Wayne.
I would say wait until we actually get a good bunch of movies down. Let's see how Shazam goes for one, because now I think you said you were worried a little that they're adding too much, like I said.
Worried, but yet again, I'm gonna like Aquaman had 2 villains, and it was fine.
There's 2 villains, not.
I get it,
12.
But let me see what it is, and then I'll make my judgment, although I'm going to feel a little worried. But that's one thing with Batman that I've thought of is if you want to give him something different, and you got, let's say, one more film contract with, or on the contract with Ben Affleck. All right, Ben, we're going to do Batman Beyond. You're going to play old Bruce Wayne, and you're going to play mentor to Terry McGinnis. Like, could you imagine that movie where the beginning of the movie, Ben Affleck is in the Batman gear, kind of like the animated series, where he goes and tries to fight the villain, but it's like he can't do it. Like, oh my God, I'm way too old for this, and just escapes with his life. And then to see him mentor Terry McGinnis, or whoever you would get as Terry McGinnis. I think it'd be a fresh take.
It would be.
It would actually what's the word I'm looking for? Rejuvenate or re-energize the series, because it would give us something different that we have not seen. Because with Batman, there's 2 ways you do that. Give us a villain we haven't seen. Give us a Batman that we haven't seen.
Yeah, I would just wait, like I said, until we actually start getting
Could you imagine
movies.
A Batman spinoff about Thomas Wayne? Like, it's a spinoff set up in that universe of a Batman story using the Thomas Wayne Batman.
Yes, please. That would be amazing.
Where it's like, it has nothing to do with Flashpoint. It's just, hey.
Well, it would, but it wouldn't.
We're going to set up, but this has nothing to do with the Flash coming in. This is just,
we don't touch the Flash.
A story in that universe.
We don't touch that Flash, but we'll like maybe, I mean, at that point, yeah, show me the Bruce's death instead, so we can see like the mom.
That would be an interesting take. Actually, show us that death.
Only because then we can see like
Of him dying in Thomas's arms.
Him beating the shit out of the guy that robbed them, killed Bruce,
and
the
his
mother
mom just going insane.
And like that blood streak of for the smile. I want to see that.
Oh man,
her like holding it, crying, and then as soon as Tom missed his fish, beating the shit out of the guy, turns around and the crying turns to laughter, and she goes like this, pulls the hand away, and just starts laughing maniacally.
I don't know though in a movie if you'd make it that quick of a turn. I think in a movie the way I would make it is it starts with sorrow.
True.
And then over the movie she starts getting more and more insane to where it's almost her origin story of becoming the Joker and his origin story of becoming
So kind of like
Batman.
as they start growing apart type thing.
Yes, show me how Thomas Wayne became Batman.
And how
basically.
Martha Wayne.
But only if Jeffrey Dean Morgan is
only
Thomas
if Jeffrey
Wayne.
Dean Morgan
That's
plays
the only
Thomas
way
Wayne.
I want it. But this is where you guys come in and let us know what you think down below in that comment section. I like how this segment started off with like, oh, should they focus on anything else? And it just became, hey, how do you make a good Batman movie?
Yeah, we were supposed to talk about one thing.
So
and sort
let's
of
be honest. We might change the title on YouTube where let's be completely honest. How do you make a good Batman movie? We just told you how to do it.